strategy, and that includes water storage, recycling, and conservation. These strategies, as we mentioned a moment ago, are also included in East Baymouth's supplemental water supply portfolio. We also want to highlight that groundwater storage is specifically called out as one of the state's key strategies to enhancing water resiliency. East Baymouth has been actively evaluating groundwater storage for the past several decades. The result of these efforts to date include the Bayside facility and the recently completed pilot phase of the Dream Groundwater Banking Project located in Stockton. Between January through April of this year and February of last year, East Baymouth, in collaboration with the Dream partner agencies, Bayside is an aquifer storage and recovery facility. The well is used to inject treated surface water for storage into the aquifer during surplus water years. That same well can be used to extract water to provide supply during extreme droughts or emergencies, although extraction for Bayside has not yet been needed. Aquifer storage and recovery wells have been used in the U.S. for over 50 years as a proven water resources management technique. In the area around Bayside, there are 3 aquifer zones. We have the shallow, intermediate, and deep aquifer zones. The Bayside well is located in the deep aquifer at about 600 feet deep. 2 properties, one owned by Oraloma Sanitary District and the other by East Baymouth. The Bayside injection and extraction well and 4 monitoring wells are located on a parcel of property on Oraloma that is being leased by East Baymouth and is outlined in yellow in this figure. Oraloma decided not to extend the lease, and therefore the lease will expire on August 31st of this year. Adjacent to Oraloma is East Baymouth's property that's shown in the light blue rectangular shaded area, and that houses the Bayside Water Treatment Facility and an extensometer, which is a device that monitors for any land subsidence. To inject a total of 18 million gallons of treated surface water. This occurred during with the upcoming Bayside well demolition that will occur after East Baymouth's lease expires this August. So this fall, East Baymouth plans to demolish all the Bayside permanently inactive. The contractor that will be hired and East Baymouth's groundwater consultant overseeing the contractor have expertise in performing well demolition. After the wells are demolished, any of the remaining equipment and structures on the property will be removed. And then the final step is to grade and restore the site to match existing site conditions. Oraloma is located in an industrial area, and the demolition activities are not expected to impact residents. A table that provides a summary of the estimated demolition schedule. About a month ago, East Baymouth posted a request for proposals for the Bayside well demolition, and those proposals are due next Monday on June 17th. We anticipate them in around September, October timeframe to salvage items, and then in October for PG&E to remove the pole and transformer, followed by contractors that is needed before a future phase of Bayside is considered, including installing a replacement well. We will do a reevaluation of the future phase of Bayside within the next few years as part of the upcoming 5-year updates of 2 plans. One plan is the long-term water resources planning document called the Urban Water Management Plan, and the other one is the Groundwater Sustainability Plan for the East Bay Plains Subbasin. And we'll, of course, continue to engage with this community to provide updates on Bayside. And this is just a reminder before we take questions that we do have these various web pages where our data is available to the public. We have the Bayside webpage to answer questions.
Right, thank you, Grace. Before we get into it, if you guys think of any other questions after tonight's meeting, you can always email it to baysidefacility@eastbaymud.com, and we can answer it. Any questions at any time you may have, and I get those and I'll get back to you. We have one question is asking why is the facility being demolished? Grace, can you stop sharing your screen so we
sure,
can see us? Yeah. Right. We have one question. Why is the facility being demolished?
Facility demolished. It's because of the lease that we have. EastBMUD has a lease with Orloma that expires on August 31st of this year, and Orloma decided not to renew the lease. And for the lease terms, we have to demolish the facilities that are located on their property.
And the next question is, where will the new facility move to?
Well, yes, the new facility, we have that existing EastBMUD property that was shown earlier in the presentation, that blue shaded area that's essentially adjacent to Orloma. So that would be a location of a potential future phase of Bayside.
Thank you. We don't have any other questions right now, but we'll give folks a few minutes.
Laura, you have a hand up.
Oh,
Keith Barrows.
Hi Keith, can you type it in the box for us? A few questions. I'll take this time to remind folks that I'll be posting the recording of this meeting tonight at ebmud.com/Bayside. We have another question pop in. Why will the old wells be made inactive? Can't they continue to be used after the lease expires?
No, that's part of the process of the demolition. We have to make those wells inactive. They cannot be used again in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's part of vacating the site, right? Removing all EastBMUD.
Yes, that's to meet the lease terms.
Yeah, and then there are also regulatory requirements of how we make a well inactive, and that's what we'll be doing when we vacate the site.
Yes, we follow all the state and Alameda County requirements, so we ensure that it's done correctly and that there's, it's completely sealed and remains inactive.
And Grace, this pretty much applies to all wells that become inactive. I mean, this is a challenge for us sometimes when there are, or not to us necessarily, but to the regulators when wells are abandoned and they're not sealed and properly closed, if you will. And obviously we're taking the steps that are required.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, we want to protect the groundwater, in the area by properly closing and sealing, completely filling these wells. And you're absolutely right that if it's done incorrectly, there can be, the potential for pathways that exist, but that will not be the case because, we will have a contractor, that is experienced and does this for a living, and that's it will be done correctly.
I'm gonna hop to out of order because there is relating to the wells while we're talking about it, and there someone asked, what is the material used to plug the well?
Yeah, good question. So the material that will be used will be primarily cement for those 4 monitoring wells. It'll be cement, just straight up. They call it neat cement, And for the Bayside production well, it'll be a mixture of cement and some sand. But that's standard material for closing out and demolishing wells.
Okay. Something also related I'm going to jump to first is, do the 5 wells that are being sealed connect with the deep aquifer storage? How will we know if seawater intrudes into them over time?
Again, that's, the process that's going to be followed is the regulatory standards that ensures that there will not be any sort of pathways that exist once they are completely sealed. There's the deep well, the production well, and then there are 2 deep monitoring wells.
And Grace, the second part of that question is, how will we know if seawater intrudes into them over time? Is there a chance that could even happen? Isn't that? I'll let you answer that.
No, I mean in the presentation, there are these clay layers that separate the different aquifer zones, and those protect the deep aquifer from seawater intrusion.
And that's kind of the big difference between a deep aquifer and the more shallow aquifers, are that, is even if the land is flooded or there's just no permeation from other sources of water. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. We have the advantage of this particular geology in this East Bay Plain subbasin is very advantageous in that we have these clay layers that are continuous and protect the deep aquifer. If you go to the subbasin just south of us, there actually are some, clay layers that don't have this continuous sort of level of continuum in that can create some issues, but not in the East Bay Plain subbasin. We are protected because of that.
Okay, Grace, can you pull up the map real quick? Someone's asked to see. I believe it's the map where East BayMUD property is and where the existing facility is located.
This one?
I believe so. Just the yellow box right there is where the current facility is, and the blue shaded area is where East BayMUD property is.
Yes.
Jump right back up. East BayMUD owns the new facility. How long will you keep the new facility? And the water already injected in the ground before, will it be in the new facility?
So we, at this point, plan to keep the new or the facilities that exist in that blue shaded area. We don't have any plans to, remove that or vacate that property. So we'll continue to have the water treatment facility be extensometer. And it is very close by to where the existing well is located. So that water that exists, that was injected, is essentially in the same area if we were to put, a well into our property in the future.
I see a series of questions that are somewhat related. So, why is Ora Loma not renewing the lease? What function were they serving, and what will take over that function?
So they decided, Ora Loma back in 2022 brought the lease extension to their board, and the board decided not to extend the lease. And as far as what they plan to do with that property, I don't have any information. We can ask Ora Loma what their plans are for that parcel of property.
I think the function was really they were they leased the property to us. They do not have anything to do with the Bayside facility. We were strictly leasing the site for EBMUD's Bayside facility.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it was just simply that, yeah, they had that parcel available, and we leased it to put in the well and those monitoring wells.
And if I remember correctly, and someone please correct me, but the reason we put this facility here as opposed to our own property was that we didn't own the other property at the time. Is that right, or why didn't we just put it on our property in the first place?
Yes, I believe that's correct. That's before my time at EBMUD, but my understanding is consistent with yours, Director Lenny, that blue area, EBMUD's property, was purchased subsequent to putting the well on Orloma's property.
And then let's see. And I'll kind of circle back to Keith's second question. I heard you speak to possibly returning to make new wells in the future. Please explain how it makes sense to permanently seal the wells only to drill new ones in the same location.
Yeah, that's a good valid question. Again, it comes down to the fact that where those wells are located is leased. We have a lease with Orloma, and that lease expires. We can't do anything about the fact that the lease is expiring and it's not, it has not been renewed. We had tried to renew the lease back in 2022, and Orloma's board voted not to extend the lease.
Thank you, Grace. And how much will it cost for new wells, reinstallments? Will it charge the cost to our water bill or our property tax bill?
The costs are still, we still have to evaluate that, and we'll evaluate that as part of, this reevaluation process. Just in the last couple of years, costs for drilling wells has increased considerably, and so we will have to evaluate that. So that will likely be something we can provide an update on in a future meeting. And what was the other part of that?
Will it charge to the water bill or property tax?
So currently, this is something we plan as part of our plan as part of our capital improvements project.
Maybe I can help you out, Grace, there. So any type of capital improvement or water supply improvement, that would be on, we would go to the customer's water bill. It wouldn't be on any customer's property tax bill.
Yeah, and I want to add, you won't see like a specific increase just for this specific project. We look at all the projects at a whole when they determine the rates during the budget and rates time. Let's see, and then how long?
I'm sorry, excuse me, Laura. I'd be remiss if we didn't recognize at least that Orloma Director Benny Lee is in the group here, and I regret that in this format we don't, we're having question and answer here without an ability to have kind of a more open participation in this meeting and workshop. Is there a way that Director Lee could answer or help answer some of these questions, or throw some additional lights on the questions we're getting about Orloma's decision? Because I do think it's relevant here, and I'm not sure I'm the appropriate person to.
Okay, I did grant the allow to speak.
And Benny, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it seems like you might want to.
Certainly. The lease of the land was not a benefit to Orloma Sanitary District, and our 147,000 customers.
All right, that help answer, throw some light on that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then that was one of the questions. Why did Orloma Board vote not to renew the lease? Thank you for that. Let's see, did I read this one? How long ago did the leasing relationship with Orloma start?
I think it started in 1997.
Okay.
So it began when the test well was put in to, initially just even see if this was a viable location to put in the well.
And when was the Bayside well drilled first? Was that, there was a test well, but is it the same one?
No, the test well is not the same. I don't recall offhand when the actual Bayside well was drilled, but I can look that up.
Yeah, I could work with Grace and get that answer back to you. So I'm sorry, we don't have that right now. We'll get that back to you. Can you describe a little more how water is transported from the Mokelumne River and the other supplemental rivers to East BayMUD, then out to our customers? You can kind of go back to that slide we have there.
Yeah, so in terms of how Mokelumne River water is transported, so we have this, what you see in this blue line here is our Mokelumne aqueduct. And we actually have 3 aqueducts that can transport Mokelumne River water to our service area in the East Bay. And it's about a 90 mile westward route for that water to come to our service area. And you'll see here where the Dream project is located in Stockton. It's located along the path of the Mokelumne aqueduct, so that's why we were able to extract and then move water into our aqueduct, because we were able to connect into our aqueduct.
And Grace, can you point out the Freeport facility as well?
Yeah, and then the other key supplemental water supply, drought supply, is the Freeport facility, which allows us to take Sacramento River water during droughts, and we did that the last 2 droughts. So that's shown in this green circle here, and then it comes down here and then connects to the Mokelumne aqueduct at this point here.
And then once the water goes to the aqueducts, it goes to our treatment plants. It gets treated and then delivered to our customers in the East Bay.
And that's, the supplemental water supply is not just from the Sacramento River. It comes out of the Sacramento River, but the water molecules that we're able to get come also from the tributaries of the Sacramento, including rivers like the Feather River and others.
And the American and others, yes.
And looks like we have someone who in the audience, remember the Bayside well was drilled sometime in 2008 or 2009. You remember being and helping with organizing the event.
Okay.
You've been with us for a long time. Thank you for being here tonight.
That was a great event. I was very impressed. The dancers and everything made it quite a community celebratory event that way.
Yeah, you have organized the dance performance and catering. So thank you, and again, thank you for being here. Someone else asked, can you remind them what the Dream project is? And it's on the map here.
Yeah, so that's a pilot groundwater banking project that East BayMUD has been conducting in collaboration with partners out in the San Joaquin County area. So it consists of, it's a pilot project where we recharge the farmlands in this area with East Bay Mud's McCullough River water during wet years where we have surplus water, and the farmers used that surface water to irrigate crops instead of pumping groundwater. And so because they weren't pumping groundwater, that allowed groundwater to be banked for future use. And so East Bay Mud was able then to extract, as mentioned earlier this year and a little bit last year, and put it into our McCullough aqueducts.
And can you tell us what DREAM stands for, Grace?
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
gonna-
yes, of course.
You can say a dream.
It's so long that it's DREAM is such a good acronym, but it stands for Demonstration, Recharge, Extraction, and Aquifer Management.
Thank you. And if you, go ahead. And if you guys are interested, you can hop on eastbaymud.com, do a search for DREAM, and there's
Actually,
a whole page in the project.
Yeah, if you do eastbaymud.com/DREAM, it'll take you right there.
Oh, perfect. Thank you,
Yes.
Grace.
So I mean, the point here, of course, is that we have many sources of water that we're trying to piece together or in various ways in order to meet the needs for the droughts that we know happen periodically. We're not in a drought now, fortunately, but you know the challenge for our water supply is in wet years. We're very fortunate. We have the McCullough River watershed and the Pardee Pardee Reservoir that supplies almost 90% of our water in regular years. But in drought years, the McCullough cannot supply the water that we need, the sufficient water that we need in the East Bay. And so we have, I guess you could see from here, a patchwork of different ways that we might be able to have sufficient water supply and sufficient high quality water supply to carry us through droughts. That, along with the conservation that our customers have always been really responsive about and for, allows us to have enough water in the dry years. And the whole point of the Bayside project is to have one more piece of the puzzle that we can, one more potential way that we can supply water in the dry years by storing water there in the wet years and being able to extract it in the dry years.
Okay. What East Bay Mud Reservoir is currently the least full? Do we have that off the top of our head?
Clifford may be able to answer that.
It's you know, asking which reservoir is full is a tricky question because, you know, we, depending on the time of the year, you know, we don't want our reservoirs, you know, completely topped off. But I would say in general, you know, it's not full to capacity, but we are, you know, full for this time of the year.
And we have, you know, essentially carryover capacity when we're, you know, more or less full like we are this year. Means that, as we saw in one of the original charts, it's kind of the third year drought that things start getting really tight, and that we need this water. You know, the first year we're okay, second year we're getting a little bit tight, and the third year is boy, we gotta find some other sources. Of course, it was dependent on how you know, how severe the drought is.
Yeah, but maybe to put it in perspective, Pardee Reservoir, which is our largest drinking water reservoir, just stopped spilling the other day. So to give you a sense of how full it is.
Stop spilling meaning excess water in essence.
I mean, water literally going over the spillway. It couldn't hold any more water.
Yeah.
And the next one is directed to Director Benny Lee. He said he would like a longer answer about why Oraloma is not renewing the lease. If you have anything else to add.
You know, every single one of the board members will have a different reason, right? But I'll just put it this way: it was not a benefit from a financial or land use benefit to Ora Loma Sanitary District, and that's speaking from myself.
And I can add, there was a meeting about it with the board, and it is recorded, and you can listen to it online at the Ora Loma site.
That is correct.
And Keith, I would just say, I think there is transparency on this. As Laura pointed out, there's the board meeting you can go to, and Benny correctly points out, there were different reasons given by different members, and it wasn't a unanimous vote by the board, as I remember. Is that right, Benny?
That is correct.
But pretty straightforwardly, the board decided that this was not something that they wanted to continue, or was in their interest to lease the land to us for. And as we pointed out earlier, this is a project that is not connected in any way. Ora Loma doesn't supply water, doesn't get water from this. It doesn't have any benefit except from the actual lease funding for the project that they have been receiving, or will be receiving through August. But thank you for the question.
Thank you. And there's another question. There was a follow-up just for that. How can I find the recording? I could share that with you. Since I have your email from your RSVP, I'll send you Ora Loma site to all their recordings of their board meetings.
And if you could find that particular meeting, that might even help Keith.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that. Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, most people probably are aware here. I don't know, Keith, how new you are to these meetings. This project has not been without its controversy and without issues around how it would be used, and potential issues that would affect or possibly affect the neighbors and that. So that may, I certainly know that people came to the Ora Loma meeting concerned about that and voiced those concerns. Whether that affected the vote or not, I don't know, but that is an issue nobody's trying to cover up here.
Have the wells outlived their purpose?
No, they have not outlived their purpose. The purpose is for drought and emergency supply. So yeah, if we had the lease still, they would be there for that very purpose.
Thank you. Someone else asked, can we pass around the meeting recording to our community? When did you post it to the website? I'll be posting it by next week, and once it's posted, everyone that had RSVP to this meeting, I'll send you an email to notify you that it's been posted. And once it's posted, it'll live on EBMUD.com/Bayside, and also on our YouTube channel. Question is, the news reported that construction of a new reservoir has been approved by the governor. Will that new reservoir be part of East BayMUD's network? I'm not sure which reservoir.
Just the sites reservoir.
Sites reservoir.
Yeah, so the Sites Reservoir is not, East BayMUD is not a part of the Sites Reservoir project.
Thank you. When do we know about the capacity of the different level of underground aquifers? Do we know the approximate capacities of each? Are their underground capacities unlimited?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, through the aquifer testing that had been done previously, when we put in this Bayside well, we know about the capacity of the deep aquifer in that area. And early in the presentation, there were the capacity estimates for that particular well. There it's not limitless, you know, based on the design of the well and the surrounding geology.
You. Excuse me. That looks like that's our last question tonight. See if there's anything
A lot of good questions. I was worried
Yeah,
here.
this is like really
Kind of get out too early and get off too easy.
you know, I was impressed last year with the questions and the engagement, and I continue to be. So really appreciate that.
Yeah. So there's a new one. Well, the new well require a new EIR.
That's a great question, and we'll need to look into that as part of the reevaluation process and discussions with Alameda County.
Just a second if anything's popping up. Okay, great. I'm going to send at the emails in the chat that if you guys have any other questions after the meeting, you can email Bayside Facility at EBMUD.com or myself, laura.luong@ebmud.com. It comes in the same box for me. So feel free to reach out at any time if you have any questions. Again, the recording will be posted within the week, and I will send everyone here tonight an email notifying you, as well as folks that RSVP and didn't make it tonight. They'll get an email notifying them that is live on the website. And let's see, folks are saying thank you. And also I have one more question. Who will own the H2O in the future?
The water that we've put in, right?
The water we put in, that's something we actually need to look at the lease terms a little more carefully, and in fact we're looking at that currently.
Very good question.
Yeah, great
and,
question.
Yeah, and I imagine we'll be able to provide that at the next update. Thank you. Again, thank you all for being here tonight.
Appreciate your time and questions and interest.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, bye.
Thank you to staff for putting this all together and giving such a good presentation.